What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. We hadn't really seen new Malefic support in over a decade, and a couple cards had come out recently, and I was sleeping. A lot of you guys in the streams were coming in and asking, hey John, what do you think of the new Malefic support? Do you like it? And I was just like, you know what? It doesn't do enough for me. I don't even really want to do a video with it. They're cool and all, but it's just not for me. And then Malefic Territory comes out, and it burst the chains open on the restrictions placed on Malefic monsters. So, if you're unfamiliar with Malefic monsters, we'll talk about a couple in here, and why I think this will truly break open as an archetype thanks to this card. And yes, this card is now searchable as well, because all Malefic cards became searchable with another piece of the new support. So, I really like this. So, on top of a monster reborn and a super search card, Malefics get a card to make them actually usable together. I feel the same way, Yu-Gi-Oh! Org. I feel completely the same way, and this card really gets me pumping. This kind of card design is really awesome, and shows what legacy support should be. So, Sin Territory, aka Malefic Territory, is a continuous spell card. When this card is activated, you can activate one Malefic world from your deck. While the card activated by this effect is in a field zone, neither player can target cards in field zone with effects. So Malefics basically need a field zone to stay on the field, and this offers some slight protection to the Malefic world that you would get from deck. Now, I think in deck building and competitive theory, you'll be playing other field spells to put over the Malefic world, like you'll set the field spell, send Malefic world to the graveyard, and then you'll want to actually use the new search card to banish Malefic world. We'll get into that in just a second, but realistically, I think Diagram's one of the best pieces, despite all the Malefics being dark, for what you might want to do with the deck, and I'll also discuss why later. There can only be one face-up Malefic monster on the field. Effect of Malefic monsters becomes there cannot be face-up Malefic monsters with the same name on the field. This is what is freaking awesome first about this card. It breaks open the floodgates and allows you to summon all these big boss monsters that are reminiscent of the ace monsters slash other awesome monsters of the past. Malefic, Cyber, Dragon, Stardust Dragon, etc. Like before, the most competitive play this had seen is Malefic, Stardust Dragon, and Gravekeepers just as a beater. That was it, but now you get all these awesome clauses together, like during the battle phase only, the effects of Malefic monsters are negated. This does more than you might realize. At first you might be like, oh, okay, all my Malefic monsters can attack, because most of them have an effect that magnetize that only this card can attack. So this turns that off. But it also means that your opponent, if they have something to destroy your field spell, if they have something to take care of that, they've got to activate it before the battle phase so that you're still in main phase 1. Whenever you say entering battle phase, they're like, no, wait, end of main phase 1. Guess what? If they do something there to say your field spell, you get to continue your turn right there in main phase 1, and you can activate another field spell, summon a couple more big beaters. You see where I'm going? It means that your setup is guaranteed to, like, you know if it's gonna last through the battle phase or not. This clause is just so awesome and big, and before people start actually playing Fairy Wind again or something. So let's read a good old Malefic card before we get to the other new support, and why I think this will kind of bust it. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except for removing from play a Cyber Dragon from your extra deck. That's all. You get a 4,000 body on board that is a level 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, just for removing a card from your extra deck. Similarly, Malefic Stardust Dragon also removes a Stardust Dragon from extra deck, but some cards will remove from main deck. There can only be one face-up Malefic monster on the field. That clause is what really held things back. Also, other monsters you control cannot declare an attack. That is the battle phase effect that is getting negated, that is so important. If there's no face-up field spell card on the field, destroy this card, and I don't need to know what attacks do. So this is all really big in what it does. It literally breaks the chains and restrictions that were created to hold the Malefics back and give you everything you could want. Now, I said this card was searchable. Let's go ahead and look at Malefic Selector. A spell card from Bonds Beyond Time appears for Malefics, designed to help you search key cards. This normal spell card says you can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn, so you're not turboing out your deck. Banish 2 Malefic cards from your graveyard. Add 2 Malefic cards from your deck to your hand, with different names from each other, and those banished cards except Malefic Selector. This is why I really like that this card, our first card, Malefic Territory, gives you Malefic World. You're able to activate a field spell, set a field spell over your active field spell, putting Malefic World in the graveyard for yourself, to where you can then only need one more. And if you do Diagram, then Diagram will allow you to pop a Malefic card and search. And so then you're going to get 2 more searches on top. Do you see where this is going? They're all dark, so they don't really work with the True Kings as it were so far. But this and a Diagram allows you to get any 2 Malefic cards that you would want. So Malefic Cyber Dragon and this. And then this is also, you know, a continuous spell, but you really don't want to tribute it for a True Draco. You want to keep this out. So I'm still like just in my initial phases of like deck theory and stuff, but Diagram would also help with Malefic Truth Dragon coming out, a 5,000 beater that says cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by its own effect, and cannot be special summoned other ways. If a Malefic monster you control except Malefic Truth Dragon is destroyed by battle or card effect. Notice it didn't say opponents there, so Diagram would allow this to work. You can pay half your life points and special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. Ain't that nice? There can only be 1 Malefic monster on the field, but hey, guess what? That effect goes away with our new continuous spell. If there is no face-up field spell card on the field, destroy this card. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. Well, again, that battle phase effect will get negated for the price of being able to summon out a bunch of big boys. But this has always been one of the better Malefic cards, and you can always keep it as insurance in your hand, as it were. But man, does this feel right with Diagram? Does this start to come together for me when I'm looking at deck building? And yeah, they have one more final card before we get into the last bit of the discussion. Malefic Divide, as mentioned earlier, I think is a Reborn. It's a quick play spell card. Target a Malefic monster in your graveyard. Special summon that monster, ignoring its summoning conditions, but its effects are negated, and banish it during the end phase. Basically, it's saying, you don't need a field spell to have your Malefic monster last for the turn. All of its effects are negated, meaning the only one Malefic monster, meaning the attacking during battle phase stuff. Ain't that just nice? Oh, and the synchro's already been out if you're interested. They come with a tuner that actually synchros with monsters from hand. But overall, this just brings it together. Yeah, the quick play Reborn negating effects didn't do it for me. You know, the double searcher didn't quite do it for me yet. It took this card to really get me woke and bring it together. And again, it's the advantage it provides. It's the instant Malefic card to the graveyard if you have another field spell. And then being Diagram, hopefully being that field spell with 5 Diagrams in deck, your ability to get 2 to grave. I'm just wondering if you guys in the comment section know, or if anybody knows, how you might abuse True Kings or True Dracos with this. You definitely don't want to be tributing this if you're bringing out the Malefics. You want to attack with everything. That's kind of the point here. Mound of the Bound is another great field spell, but it doesn't help you turbo with Truth Dragon or really get to that extra search, because Diagram does it all for you. It can help you summon Truth Dragon. It can, if set over Malefic World, it can help you get a second one to the graveyard in order for you to activate your new search card, the Malefic Selector. Really, I feel like you need a card like that ties the deck together. I'm just wondering how you guys might think to break that into the deck. Or what field spell? Am I missing one? I said Mound of the Bound. That's kind of the most common with modern day Malefics, which has been modern for a very long time. But how would you be bringing together this new support and breaking it in? Am I missing something? Are you thinking Big Boy XC's deck? Are you thinking something along that line? I think most of the Big Boy XC's decks would be better off as just like Frankton Trains or Blue Eyes for 8s. But this this really makes me excited for it. It makes me on the edge of my seat to know what the next Malefic card might be announced. If there is more, will they be giving more? And when we get it, I'm pretty sure, like I said, Battles of Legend, if we get it this year, which is always releases before the WCQ to shake things up. And will this be viable? I don't know if it's going to be consistent enough, but it does bring the strategy together to be roguish, I would hope. But at the same time, I don't know if it will give it the ability to top something like a YCS with just this. Yes, you got search power. Yes, you got broken revival power. But relying on one continuous in a back row that doesn't protect itself despite its protection to the field spell zones, that's where I see the chink in the armor. Thanks for watching so much. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the discussion. And really, I do want to hear from you guys how you would think to break this in.